India Post-Independence Remnants and Political Thoughts, letter number 17. Dear friends and sisters, I talk to you is Manak Chand Sanghi, Bangalore, Karnataka State. Everyone have heard about Epic Mahabharat. When I have seen TV serial on television from 2nd October 1988 to 24th June 1990 on DD National, I have remembered all that my grandfather had told me in the childhood in the 60s. Mahabharat is most successful Indian television serial on the Hindu Epic Mahabharat. It was produced by B.R. Chopra and directed by his son Ravi Chopra. The music was composed by music director Rajkamal. Each episode was approximately run for 45 minutes. Production team manager Kishore Malhotra told that the TV serial total cost was around 9 crores. It was telecast on the prime Sunday morning time slot of 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. It was a runaway success because of public places were often looked deserted during the telecast time. This was considered the definitive filmed version of the story. The title song was sung by the late Indian playback singer Mahendra Kapoor. The sung verses at the end of the credit sequence are verses 7 and 8 of chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita. Whenever and wherever a decline of righteousness and a predominance of unrighteousness prevails at that time, I, Krishna, manifest myself personally. O descendant of Bharat, for the protection of the devotees and the annihilation of the miscreants, and to fully establish righteousness, I appear million after million. The song of the voice of time, Samay in Mahabharat serial, was narrated by Harish Bhimani. Samay reviews relevant events and set the stage for the action in the episode. During these sequences, a backdrop of stars and planets are shown, overlaid with a transparent image of a statue's hat and otherwise a slowly turning wheel. Time Samay was telecast as a sage or Kala Muni. Samay is shown as immortal before epic and afterwards, indicating that he is the only one qualified to tell the story of the Mahabharata. Samay often speaks of perceiving or revealing patterns in the epic that only it can know from its cosmic perspective. Time occasionally provides a narration while human action is shown. It is known fact that time only possesses the series of events happened in the past. Each episode ended with a sung verse, either summarizing the physical or emotional state of the episode's main characters, or a moral lesson drawn from the action. Mahabharata depicted the mythological conflict between the Pandavas and the Kauravas for the throne of Hastinapur. It is held collective attention of 200 million Indians for 45 minutes each week for 2 years. The whole story of Mahabharata is a dynastic struggle for the throne of Hastinapur, the kingdom ruled by the Kuru clan. It was the Kaurav and the Pandav family who participated in this struggle. The Kaurava was the senior family as Duryodhan, the eldest son, and was younger than the Yudhishthira, the eldest son of Pandava. Both Duryodhan and Yudhishthira claim to be first in line to inherit the throne. The struggle culminates in the great battle of Kurukshetra, in which Pandavas are ultimately victorious. The battle produces complex conflicts of kinship and friendship, instances of family loyalty and duty taking precedence over what is right as well as the converse. The Mahabharata ends with the death of Lord Krishna, the hero of Mahabharata. The end also revealed of dynasty and ascent of the Pandava brothers to heaven. This is the beginning of Kali Yuga, the fourth and final stage of mankind, in which great values and noble ideas have crumbled and the man is heading towards the conflict, dissolution of right action, morality and virtue. Mahabharata story is like this. Santanu, the king of Hastinapur, has a short-lived marriage with the goddess Ganga and had a son, Devvrat Bhishma, who becomes the heir apparently. Many years later, when the king Santanu goes on hunting, he saw Satyavati, a daughter of the chief of fishermen. Santanu approached her father and desired to marry Satyavati with him. But her father gave the consent to the marriage only on the condition that Santanu is to make future son of Satyavati be made the king after his death. Santanu's son Devvrat from his first wife Ganga agreed to relinquish his right to the throne. This had solved Santanu's dilemma that future son of Satyavati would become king of Hastinapur. Devvrat Bhishma takes a vow of lifelong celibacy to guarantee his father's promise. King Santanu had two sons by Satyavati, Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. When Santanu died, Chitrangada became king, but he lived a very short, uneventful life and expired. Vichitravirya, his younger brother who took over as king of Hastinapur. The king of Kasi arranged a swayamvar for his three daughters. He had not invited the royal family of Hastinapur. Devvrat Bhishma wanted to arrange the marriage of his young brother Vichitravirya. Due to this, Bhishma attended the swayamvara of the three princes Amba, Ambika and Ambalika. Bhishma was uninvited. Hence Bhishma proceeded to abduct them. Princess Ambika and Ambalika gave consent to marry King Vichitravirya. The eldest princess Amba informs Bhishma that she wants to marry king of Salva, whom Bhishma defeated at the swayamvar. Bhishma allows Amba to marry king of Salva, but Salva refuses to marry her because he faced humiliation at the hands of Bhishma. Amba returns to marry Bhishma, but he refused to marry because of his vow of celibacy. Amba becomes Bhishma's enemy because Bhishma was responsible for her plight. Later she is reborn to King Drupada as Sikhandi, which caused Bhishma's fall with the help of Arjun in the battle of Kurukshetra. It is said that Vichitravirya died young without any heir to the throne. Satyavati asked her first son Vyas to father children with the widows. Ambika shuts her eyes when she sees him, and so her son Dhritarashtra is born blind. Ambika turns pale and bloodless upon seeing him, and thus she gave birth to Pandu, who was pale and unhealthy. However, Ambika and Ambilika sent their maid instead to Vyas' rooms. Vyas' father, a third son Vidur, he is born healthy and grows up to be one of the wisest characters in the Mahabharata. He served as Mahamantri to King Pandu and Dhritarashtra. I have heard that when a woman becomes a mother and gives a birth for a newborn, the baby so born wears the reflections, psychological changes, and resemblances of the situation which the mother passes through the time till birth of the newborn. This means that during pregnancy, the mother should live cool, free from any tensions, and adopt an attitude for good atmosphere around her so that offspring, new baby, would inherit good character and moral values. When the princess grew up, Bhishma wanted to crown Dhritarashtra as the king of Hastinapur, but Vidur intervenes and uses his knowledge of politics that a blind person cannot control and protect his subjects, as the throne was then given to Pandu because of Dhritarashtra's blindness. Pandu married twice to Kunti and Madhuri. Dhritarashtra married Gandhari, a princess from Gandhar, who blindfolds herself so that she may feel the pain that her husband feels. Her brother Sakuni is enraged by this and vows to take revenge on the Kuru family. One day, when Pandu is relaxing in the forest, he hears the sound of a wild animal. He shoots an arrow in the direction of the sound. However, the arrow hits the sage Kindama, who curses him that if he engages in a sexual act, he will die. Pandu then returns to the forest along with his two wives. In this way, his brother Dhritarashtra rules thereafter despite his blindness. Pandu's first queen Kunti, however, had been given a boon by sage Durvasa that she could invoke any god using a special mantra. Kunti uses this boon to ask Dharma, the god of justice, Vayu, the god of wind, and Indra, the lord of the heavens, for sons. She gives birth to 3 sons, Vishta, Bhim, and Arjun. Through these gods, Kunti shares her mantra with the younger queen Madhuri, who gave birth to the twins Nakul and Sadev. It is found that Pandu and Madhuri indulged in sex, and due to curse, Pandu dies. Madhuri dies on his funeral pyre out of remorse. Hence Kunti raises 5 Pandav brothers. Dhritarashtra had 100 sons through Gandhari, all born after the birth of Yudhishthira. These are the Kauravas brothers, the eldest being Duryodhan and the second Dushasan. Other Kaurav brothers were Vikarn and Sukarn. The rivalry and enmity between Pandavas and Kaurav family lead to Kurukshetra battle. After the death of father Pandu and mother Madhuri, the Pandavas and their Mother Kunti returned to the palace of Hastinapur. Yudhishthira was made crown prince by Dhritarashtra because of considerable pressure from his kingdom. Dhritarashtra wanted to make his own son Duryodhan to be made king and lets his ambition to get in the way of preserving justice. Shakuni, Duryodhan and Dusashan plotted to get rid of Pandavas. Shakuni engaged an architect Purochana to build a palace out of inflammable materials like lac and ghee. Shakuni arranged for the Pandavas and Queen Mother Kunti to stay there. They set a fire on the palace, but Pandavas were warned by their uncle Vidur about the plot made by Shakuni. Vidur sends a miner to dig a tunnel so that Pandavas were able to escape to safety and went into hiding. But Shakuni and others presumed at Hastinapur that Pandavas and Kunti are dead. It is said that while Pandavas were hiding in the jungle with Mother Kunti, Pandavas, learned of a Swayamvar of Panchali Princess Draupadi. The Pandavas entered the competition in disguise as Brahmins. This competition was that one has to string a mighty steel bow and he has to shoot the target on the ceiling, which is the eye of a moving artificial fish, on looking its reflection in oil below. The most of the participant princes failed to do so, but however Arjuna succeeded in the Swayamvar. The Pandavas return home and informs their mother about the competition. Kunti asks them to share whatever it is Arjun had won among themselves. Draupadi ends up being the wife of all 5 brothers. After the wedding, Pandav brothers were invited back to Hastinapur. The Kuru family negotiated and were agreed to split the kingdom. The Pandavas got a new territory to rule. Yudhishthira had built a new capital at Indraprastha. Both the families of Pandavas and Kaurasites were not happy over the arrangement. Arjuna elopes and marries Krishna's sister Subhadra. Yudhishthira seeks Krishna's advice to make his position as King Yudhishthira, so he carried out the Raj Suyogna Yagya and made a new place built for them by Maya, the Dhanva. Yudhishthira invited their presence to Indraprastha. Duryodhan walks around the palace and mistakes a glossy floor for water and did not step in. On seeing this, Draupadi laughed at him and said that he is a son of blind father Dhritarashtra. On listening these harsh words, Duryodhana decided to avenge this humiliation. This had showed the seeds of Kurukshetra war. I feel that we must be very careful in our speech of words when we accustom such a situation. Duryodhan's uncle Shakuni arranged a dice game. Yudhishthira participated in the game and loses all his wealth and his kingdom. He then even gambled his brothers, himself, and finally his wife into servitude. The jubilant Kauravas insult the Pandavas in the helpless state. The Kaurav tried to disrobe Draupadi in front of the entire court, but Lord Krishna saved her honor, who miraculously created lengths of cloth to replace the ones being removed by Dusasana. On seeing the absurd situation arisen, Dhritarashtra, Bhishma and other elders intervened and asked to stop all this. But Duryodhana was adamant that there is no place for two crown princes in Hastinapur. Hence Pandavas have to go into exile for 12 years, and in the 13 years their identity must not be known by any other. If they were discovered by the Kauravas, then they had to go into exile for another 12 years. Accordingly, the Pandavas spent 13 years in exile. In this time, so many adventures occurred. They also prepared alliances for a possible future conflict which they perceived. Pandavas spent their final year of exile in disguise in the court of Virat, but were discovered after the end of the year. At the end of their exile, Pandavas tried to negotiate to return to Indraprastha, because Duryodhana objected that Pandavas were discovered while in hiding and no return of their kingdom can be given. Hence war became inevitable. Vast armies were called by both sides at Kurukshetra for a war. The allies of Pandavas were the kingdoms of Panchala, Dwarka, Kasi, Kekai, Magadha, Matsya, Chedi, Pandyas, Telinga, and Yadus of Mathura, Param Kambos, and the allies who participated from Kaurav were the kings of Pragyostisa, Anga, Sindhu Desha, Mahesmati, Avanti, Madhya Desha, Madura, Gandhar, Balika people, Kambosas, and many others. It is said that Balram did not participate in the war and went on pilgrimage. Even Sri Krishna did not take part in the battle. Krishna takes part in a non-combatant role and becomes charioteer for Arjuna. Before the battle took place, Arjuna did not lift his Gandiv bow when he saw the opposing army, in which his many relatives and loved ones were there, just like his great-grandfather Bhishma and his teacher Dronacharya. Arjuna asked Lord Krishna that what he will get to kill his dear ones. At that time Lord Krishna woke him up for call of his duty in the famous Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that the time has come to eliminate unrighteousness and to establish dharma. Krishna explains the samsaric cycle of birth and death. It is fact that there is no truth death of the soul. It is simply a cycle of life at each round between birth and death. In this cycle of life, a person works off his karma. If a person completes his karma or action selflessly in the service to the God, then they can work off their karma, eventually leading to a dissolution of the soul, the achievement of enlightenment and vision, and an end to the samsaric cycle. If they act selfishly, then they keep accumulating debt and lead to more and more karmic debt. Dissolution of the soul can be achieved by three main concepts, that is, renunciation, selfless service, and meditation. The truly divine human do not renounce all worldly possessions or simply give up action, but rather finds peace in completing action in the highest service to God. Hence, a person must avoid the respective traps of these three gunas: rajas, anger, ego; tamas, ignorance and darkness, and sattva, harmony and purity. The highest form of meditation comes when a person not only can free himself from selfish action, but focuses entirely on the divine in his action. He who achieves divine union with him in meditation will ultimately find freedom from the endless cycle of rebirth and death. He who truly finds union with God will find him even at the moment of death. Arjuna comes to know that love comes from a person's selfless devotion to the divine, because the body is simply ephemeral, a product of Prakriti. He must let go of body's cravings, etc. to find freedom. Hence Arjuna must choose the path of good or evil and act in fulfilling his dharma. Then Arjuna proceeds into battle. I remember that which my grandfather told me, that Kurukshetra was a dharma yudh. This war ended in 18 days. Dharma yudh means that everybody from both sides, armies, Pandavas and Kauravas, will come in the battlefield and fight each other from morning to evening. At the end, in the evening, both sides, whoever will remain alive, will go to his home for next day's fight. Before the start of the battle, each side, Pandavas and Kauravas, went for support in the war from Krishna. When Arjuna, Pandavas, approached Sri Krishna for help, he saw Krishna sleeping. Arjuna sat near the feet of Krishna on the bed. Later on, Duryodhana came and sat down near Sri Krishna's head. When Krishna woke up, he saw Arjuna first and asked the reason for coming. Krishna, listened the voice of Duryodhana from behind. Both asked the help for themselves in the war. Sri Krishna told that one side is myself and the other side is all my army. Hence, whoever wants the one, select the same. Arjuna liked to choose Sri Krishna's help, and proudly Duryodhana liked to select the army of Krishna. Khatu Shyamji is a name and manifestation of Barbarika, son of Ghatotkacha. This manifestation is popular in Rajasthan and Haryana. The temple of Khatu Shyamji is located at Khatu Shyam, Sikar district in Rajasthan. Barbarika had obtained a boon from Krishna that he would known by Krishna's own name, Shyam, in the Kaliyug era and worshipped. Krishna had declared that Barbarika's devotees would be blessed just by pronouncing his name from the bottom of their hearts. It is learnt that whoever worships Shyamji, Barbarika, with a true piety with his or her wishes would be granted and troubles will go. Khatu Shyamji alias Shyam Baba was a grandson of Bhim, second of the Pandava brothers. Barbarika alias Khatu Shyam was the son of Ghatotkacha and Kamkanta Ma Morvi. Barbarika was a brave warrior in his childhood. He learned the art of warfare from his mother. God Shiva gave him 3 infallible arrows, Teen Ban, after getting pleased with him. Hence, Barbarika was known as Teen Bandhari, the bearer of 3 arrows. Later on, Agni, god of fire, gave him the bow that would make him victorious in the three worlds. Bharika got to know that battle between the Pandavas and the Kauravas had become inevitable. He wanted to witness the Mahabharat war. He felt the urge that if he has to participate in the battle, then he would join the side which would be losing. He rode to the field on his blue horse equipped with 3 arrows and bow. Lord Krishna disguised as a Brahmin and stopped Barbarica to examine his strength. Krishna, halted Barbarica by mocking him for going to the great battle with only 3 arrows. Barbarica replied that a single arrow is enough to destroy all his opponents in the war, and will return to the quiver. He explained that the first arrow used to mark all the things that he wants to destroy. The third arrow on its release will destroy all the things that are marked by first arrow, and then third arrow will return to his quiver. The second arrow, if used by him, then the second one will mark all the things which he wants to say. The third arrow will destroy all the things that are not marked. In other words, with one arrow he can fix all his targets, and the other he can destroy all of them. Sri Krishna wanted to test his phenomenal power. Sri Krishna asked Barbarica to tie all the leaves of the peepal tree under which he was standing with these 3 arrows. Barbarica accepts the challenge and started meditating to release the arrow by closing his eyes. Immediately, Krishna plucks one leaf of the tree without the knowledge of Barbarica and puts under his foot. When Barbarica released his first arrow, it marks all the leaves of the tree and finally starts revolving round the leg of Krishna. On this, Krishna asked Barbarica as to why the arrow revolving around his foot. For this, Barbarica replied that there must be a leaf under his foot, and the arrow was targeting his foot to mark the leaf that is hidden under him. Barbarica advised Krishna to lift his leg, otherwise the arrow will mark the leaf by pricking Krishna's neck. Thus Krishna lifts his foot, and to his surprise, that the first arrow also marked the leaf that was hidden under his foot. Of course, the third arrow collected all the leaves, including the one under Krishna's foot, and tied them together. By this, Krishna concluded that the arrows are so infallible that even if Barbarica is not aware of his targets, the arrows are so powerful that they can still navigate and trace all their intended targets. The moral of this incident is that in a real battlefield, even if Krishna wants to isolate someone, that is Pandu brothers, and hides them elsewhere in order to avoid them from being Barbarica's victim, then Krishna will not be successful, as the arrows, after destroying the whole army, can trace the hidden targets also and destroy them. So nobody will be able to escape from these arrows. Thus, Krishna took a deeper insight of Barbarica. Krishna then asked Barbarica whom he would favor in the war. On this, Barbarica revealed that he intends to fight for the side whichever be. as Pandavas have only 7 Akshuni army as compared to Kauravas 11 Akshuni. Krishna considers that Pandavas are weak and hence want to support them so Pandavas will become victorious. But Krishna asks Barbarica that he seriously gave a thought about the consequences to support the weaker side. Barbarica guesses that his support to the weaker side will make them victorious. Then Krishna reveals the actual consequences of the support he wants to give. Krishna told that according to the strategy of Kaurava, not the entire 11 Akshuni army will be used to wage war on the first day. Hence, the part of the Kauravas army that comes before Pandavas on the first day will completely destroyed by Barbarica. But that part of Kauravas armies that does not come before Pandavas on the first day will become weak. This will force Barbarica to support Kauravas and fight against Pandavas. But now Barbarica will destroy that part of Pandavas' army that comes before Kauravas. The remaining part of Pandavas' army that does not come before Barbarica will now become very weak. Thus, whichever side he supports will only make the other side weak due to his power, and nobody will be able to defeat him. Thus, in an actual war, he will keep oscillating between the two sides, thereby destroying the entire army of both sides, and eventually only he will remain. Subsequently, none of the side will be victorious, as he will be only lone survivor. Hence, Krishna avoids his participation from the war by seeking his head in charity. The accused Krishna then sought charity from Barbarica. Barbarica promised Krishna anything he wished. Krishna asked him to give his head in charity. The Barbarica was shocked, perceiving that all was not as it appeared. Then Barbarica requested the Brahmin to disclose his real identity. Krishna showed Barbarica a vision of his divine form, and Barbarica was thus graced. Krishna then explained to Barbarica that before a battle, the head of the bravest Kshatriya needs to be sacrificed in the order to worship or sanctify the battlefield. Krishna said that he considered Barbarica to be the bravest among Kshatriyas, and hence he was asking for his head in charity. This has happened on the 12th day of the Shukla Paksh, bright half of the month of Phagun, on Tuesday. Before decapitating himself, Barbarica told Krishna of his great desire to view the coming battle and requested him to facilitate the same. Krishna agreed and placed the head on the top of a hill overlooking the battlefield. The head of Barbarica watched the entire battle from the hill. At the end of the battle, the victorious Pandava brothers argued among themselves as to who was responsible for their victory. Krishna suggested that Barbarica's head, who had watched the whole battle, should be allowed to judge. Barbarica's head suggested that it was Krishna alone who was responsible for the victory. He said Krishna's advice, his presence, and his game plan had been very crucial. At the end, I will request to all that they must see the Shyam Baba temple and perform puja and celebrate Jai Bharat